At Ritual, we know what goes into a magical holiday season: the potluck planning, the gift giving, the spreadsheets. This new year, take a moment for yourself with simple daily rituals that help you put your foundational health at the top of your to do list. Rituals Essential for Women 18 Plus Multivitamin is a clinically backed multivitamin featuring 9 high quality key essential ingredients to help you fill key nutrient gaps in your diet. Or maybe you're stressing your daily protein intake, or you want to double down on support for your gut microbiome. From plant based essential protein to 3-in-1 pre, pro, and postbiotic strains with Symbiotic Plus, Ritual helps you focus on supporting your body after a long season of juggling everybody else. And for a limited time, do it with 30% off a 3-month supply at ritual.com/podcast. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. My name is Joe, aka Joe the Wellness Curator, and this is the Obsidian Mindset podcast, where we are redefining what wellness means to you. Welcome back, y'all. I'm so excited for y'all to hear about this episode. So if you know or don't know, last month I went to Carnival in Trinidad. It was an experience. I've heard stories, I've seen pictures and videos, but living it and being in it real time was mind-blowing. And I thought it was a hyperbole and people were just blowing it. It was real. It was an amazing experience. And, I couldn't have done it. I couldn't have set it up. I couldn't have figured out who to march with. I couldn't have figured out like a lot of it without one of my best friends, Alexis, who is a carnival queen, hands down. She's not new to the game. She's true to the game. She definitely helped me a lot with organization. It is not for the weak of heart, especially if you don't like planning. There's a lot of planning involved, and we'll go into that. But I just had such a great time, and I'm glad to have Alexis on to talk about the experience of Carnival. Not only this Carnival, but comparing it to her last situations or her last carnivals. Talking about body diversity at Carnival, which was a big thing for me here, especially if you know my story with my body, and we'll get into that more. As the newly inducted Obsidian Mindset podcast, I think we're going to go with Plus Size Correspondent. Alexis and I talk about body shapes and whose body is allowed at Carnival. And spoiler alert, it's every and anyone's. And it was just a blast to talk about the different bands. You're going to hear a lot of lingo that you might not know if you've never been to Carnival or you're Carnival curious. This is the episode for you, because if you have any questions, Alexis, as she says, her DMs are wide open. You could talk to her about anything Carnival, especially if you think it's not for you, or you think that you won't fit in, or you feel like your body's not right for Carnival. Speak to one of us and we could definitely help you through that journey. But yeah, let me not give too much tea away, but I was going to try to sum up who Alexis was besides Carnival Queen, and she's just a woman that does everything. I could talk minutes and hours about the accolades that she does, but today we're just going to focus on her as the Carnival Queen. So let me stop talking and get straight to the episode. If you have any questions, or if there's any potential people that you want to hear or things you want me to talk about, feel free to email me at joe@definedbyobsidian.com, or you can follow me on my personal IG, Joe the Wellness Curator, or feel free to follow the podcast on IG, Obsidian Mindset Podcast, or follow our wellness club, and that is Obsidian Wellness Club on IG as well. Just one more plug before we head off and get into this interview. Today, I am hosting a manifestation happy hour. This is talking about everything about how to get your manifestation into your vision and how to make sure that joy is the center of all of it. It's going to be a great workshop. This is going to be happening today if you're listening to the episode as soon as it drops. That is Wednesday, March 29th at 7 p.m. There will be an Eventbrite link in the notes. So if you can, it is free. Come, enjoy the vibes, learn about manifestation from me and my boy Miller of Kate in Wellness. And yeah, how we do around here. We're all about mindset shifts, thinking about goals. And, if the goals aren't working for you, may be time to shift them a little bit. All right, so let's get into this episode, y'all. Hello, Alexis. How are you doing?
Hi, Joe. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How was your day? Let's get into how we feel.
I'm a bit overwhelmed to be completely transparent and honest at work. It's like we got back from Carnival and everything just turned into a dumpster fire. And they're trying to take my joy, and I'm really trying to hold strong to it, but it's hard.
Hang on to that joy, girl. We gotta hang on. How do you still have your tan?
I have an insane tan on my back. I think I tanned on multiple days because I have like my regular
Layers?
swimsuit. Yes, I have like my regular swimsuit tan, my backpack tan, my tank top tan. It's just it's a crisscross mess back there. And but I like it because then I look in the mirror when I get out the shower and I'm like, ah yes, my past life where I was wild and free.
All 3 weeks ago? Was it
Three
a
weeks.
month ago?
It it feels
10?
like 2 years ago, which is the sad
It
part.
does. All right, y'all. So just to give a little context, we're talking about Carnival. Alexis and well, I don't even know how I want to start this. Like, we want to go to the beginning. Actually, I'll let you take it. This is how I do my decision tree. I'm like, where should we start? Okay. So I know Alexis because she's one of my best friends, but I also know her as like this carnival queen, and I'll let her. I do know that I exaggerate, but when she turned time to tell the story, she could tell her side. But I know her as a carnival queen. She'd be going to all the carnivals, especially Trinidad. Have you gone to more than one? Just Trinidad or
Yes.
other? You
Yeah.
know, you know other ones?
Are we counting Haiti and St. Croix?
Oh, I didn't even know they
But
had, but yeah.
it's not like the
Oh, it's big.
traditional, yeah,
Okay.
it's not the traditional what people think of when they think of carnival. I'm trying to go to Jamaica with my boo Joe.
We'll get to that. Okay, so but I know Alexis from I've seen her go to carnivals, and I've always wanted to go to carnival, but the way my schedule's set up for accounting is at the beginning of the month I can't go anywhere. Like we're stuck. We're put your head down. That's not you're not getting PTO. And this year was one of the first years where it was in the middle of the month. So I was like, and this is like also the first year that it actually happened in person because pandemic. So I was like, oh, this is a sign. I gotta go. So I hit up Alexis and she's like, yeah, I'm planning. And I was like, okay, this is it. This is my sign. So we ended up going. It was such an experience, and we're gonna discuss some of the nuances because I do have some questions about body. And that's the reason why I want to get Alexis on because she's a pro. But she also has that story like me. So I wanted to get the full experience. But okay, now I'll let Alexis tell her experience of Carnival. Do we need to explain what Carnival is? Do you want to explain what Carnival is? No, I'm
Ooh,
doing it.
how does one explain carnival?
I don't know. I'm like, I'm about to put up the wiki. It's like I know it stems from slavery.
It does, but it
If you want
also
to get deep.
I also depending on what region you're in, it represents
Mm,
something different. But so I know if you're Catholic like me, if you're religious like me, it marks the beginning of Lent. So Carnival Monday and Carnival Tuesday, of course, Wednesday is Ash Wednesday.
mm.
And I know in other islands, particularly, they're not even lined up with Easter whatsoever. Some of that is tourism, and there's a reason for that, because why would another
Capitalism.
island have carnival the same time as Trinidad? Nobody's gonna go.
No one.
No shade.
No shade.
But so of course there's Brazil, there's Canada, there's Notting Hill, there's the UK. But of course the African influence of the enslaved people of our ancestors brought their traditions, particularly in West Africa, to the New World. And if you look at the big encyclopedias, of course, it meshed with the colonizers' religions, and of course, a couple of things that we couldn't enjoy full out like we did in our motherlands, that we had to I was gonna say bastardize, but that's way too strong. That we had to mix with of unfortunately our oppressors. But if you really wanted me to get deep into it, I can pull up my
No, I think we got it. We're gonna put the resources in the notes because there is a plethora, depending on what island you're looking at, like Alexa said. There's
right.
like
We can get into Candomblé and
we
Mardi
can,
Gras
and you
that
don't want
mix
us to get into
together to make carnival. It goes way, way back. But carnival was a time where enslaved people were allowed to rejoice and have freedom. And of course it's a little bit different, like I said, because in like Barbados crop over, it literally signified the end of the crop, where we meaning our ancestors had the opportunity to have a bit of a reprieve. Now, we're still enslaved, but there was like a certain time where you were allowed to have a little bit of revelry, and so that's what that one signifies. But I entice everybody who's listening, if you want to go to Trinidad or another island, to really get into the nuts and bolts of the history behind it, because I personally think that it informs a better time. And it makes me really, as a West Indian girl, it makes me really, really proud to be a part of it, and to enjoy in that historical sense as well, and the traditions, of course. And you don't have to be Caribbean to go to any carnival. Don't let anybody tell you that. And you won't stick out or nothing. I saw more Nigerian flags in Trinidad at Fest than I saw island flags. So I love that. And I even love when people bring their US flag. That's cute for them. But but yeah, so it really steeped in centuries old history, and of course Mardi Gras, which most people know of, which came from Europe and this and that. But yeah, get into it. Pull out that Google, pull out that Wikipedia and learn.
We Obsidian Mindset, we want to know what we're doing before we do it, and it adds intentionality. And I do agree, and we'll even talk about how it kind of influences the costumes and things, and how we chose that. But back to you, what is your experience with Carnival, your history of Carnival, who you are, how is that kind of reflected, which ones you go to?
Oh,
give us the tea about Alexis.
No tea. I have no tea. I'm a very dry girl. But my first experience with Carnival was actually, and I mentioned it earlier, the Christmas Carnival in St. Croix. It is so lovely. If y'all ever want to go to a more intimate island, smaller island, definitely check out my one of my favorite places on earth. I have a house there. I love St. Croix. Big ups to VI to the world. And so Christmas Carnival is really cute. As a child, of course, I participate as well. And then there's Children's Carnival in all of these carnivals that I always love. Now that I'm an adult, I haven't been to one in a quite some time, but I love watching them. And so yeah, it started out with St. Croix, and then of course Haiti, we have our carnivals as well. And then the big the mother load, the
Olympics
Carnival. Oh my goodness, I don't even remember the first year. This is bad. I should have had this in my head. Let's say it was 2000 and I want to say 2010. I'm not that long in the game. It's been a couple of years though, and every time I go, it's like the first time, and I forget things and I remember things in the middle of it, and I get excited with planning. And I know we're going to delve into the conversation about bodies, and so it's been interesting to go through 5 of them in different iterations of myself. Different sizes, different places in life. I remember the very first one, pinching pennies. Child, I would have been sleeping under a palm tree had a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend not help me out that first time. But and then now this past year, I mean, I'm not wealthy, but like making more than I've ever made in my life as an adult, a 35-year-old. So I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling this. I'll put some money up. I'm gonna do something. Like it's nothing. And to the point where like there was a fete, and I would never ever miss a fete. But I was of the place now where I'm like, the ticket was $100. I mean, I'm tired. I could just eat that.
Choices need to be made. I definitely missed a couple, and it's okay.
Listen, a couple, Joe.
It was 2. It was like I bought the bundle, and then I didn't realize I didn't really need to go to the other ones. Anyway, sorry, it's about you.
This to the people listening, Joe, this might have been his first one, but he held his own. He held it down.
Thank you.
He is not. No, I mean, he is Jamaican though, and they're very extra. So I didn't expect.
But not with soca. But not with soca.
I always forget that. You're absolutely right.
This was a learning curve. It took. I had to not only practice my stamina on the treadmill and stuff. I had to practice learning soca and learning to appreciate it.
Well, you looked good. You
Thank
looked like
you.
you had to learn songs and everything.
Do I what?
You had to learn songs and everything.
I mean, I already knew the vibe. Like, I already knew I Love Lucy, but that's like old school. That's like
Joe. Now I want to Google that to see what year Lucy.
Lucy was my first all right, I've heard Circle all my life, but that was like the first song I was like, oh, I like this song. I'm gonna go find this song.
I am.
It must have been 2013, 14.
It's definitely. Oh, I think I see a 2013. I think you might have been right with that
Because I
2013.
remember it was a half marathon. I was listening to it. That was like that held me down for that race. It was in Iceland
That
too.
is wild. That's one of my favorite songs. I lose it.
I
It doesn't get old. It doesn't matter.
doesn't timeless.
So, how come you haven't gone to Jamaica Carnival?
First of all, who asked a cool question? We switch it into the rules. I don't know. Jamaicans aren't known for carnival. It's kind of smaller. I don't even know if they play soca. I don't know how that works. But I do want to go next.
Out.
You said right.
I want to,
and also it's usually timing, so I don't know when the timing is, but I think it should be a little bit better than now. And I mean, and also for people that want to know, carnival is not cheap, at least not Trinidad. So I just want to make that leave that at the top of the segment. Make sure you're collecting the coins because things just add up. The costume, I love the costume, and we'll get into that too. But the coins that I needed to get to for that shorts and visor.
Anybody listening to the sound of my voice that said, "Oh my goodness, I want to come next year," and they saw a scene and I did not respond to them, this is the reason why. And no shade. I think you all can hold your own. I think you all can set and get on bad and walk up. But these costs are not for I don't want to hear any complaining. I don't want you to commit to a hotel and then tell me, oh, but these flights are crazy. I'm not doing it. You got to put money away and you got to pre-plan. And if you don't pre-plan, you need to know it's going to be a premium. And that is on that.
Just like you saving up for a car house, just put one away for Carnival. Put up a nice little safe.
You wouldn't go to New Orleans for Mardi Gras and decide you're going the week before. You can go the week before.
But what? Right.
I don't know where you're going to be sleeping or staying.
So get the coins. And also, before we get into the anywho, what I've learned from my first one as well is, although there's like a lot of these services of like, what is it when people get the stuff for you?
Courier? Like a concierge. Yeah.
Get them all. Get them. At first I was like, what are you talking about? I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go walk there. First of all, it's like $60 to go anywhere if you have a driver, and it just doesn't make sense. So if you have the option, do that. Okay. But we're
it's not expensive too.
It's not. It's like 20, 30. Yeah.
Like, oh, I could do it myself. And then you're sitting on a line for 5 hours wondering why you didn't just have somebody do this for you.
In the heat. In the heat. Okay, so we gave your story. Was that it? I feel like we went on a little bit of tangent.
That's us.
Okay. I'll accept that. So Carnival, you've been going for a time, and I want to hear more about the different phases. So you said from pinching to not pinching, about monetarily, but I would also love to know about the physical and mental of some of these states as well. And then we can kind of go from body from there.
Yeah. It's funny. And I think everybody listening knows this, and maybe it's just a me thing, that you wish you were the fat that you thought you were before. And so I wish I could say that, like, oh, it was so much, I had a different experience because I was a slim thing and this and that. No, I probably thought I was fat back then too. And disclaimer, me, Alexis, the word fat is not a negative, doesn't have a negative connotation for me. So if you hear me say fat or call myself fat, I'm not self-deprecating. It's just a word for me. But I do know that sizing has changed as the years have changed, but I'm also wondering, and I need to look back at old pictures, and I was talking to Joe about this, that costumes have also changed. And so I remember, I'm not going to say like we were more clothed back then, because we weren't. It's always skin out. But I think that particularly in the last 3 years, these costumes have gotten a little more dental flossier, a little more there's really nowhere that you can tuck and hide nothing. If you want to tuck and hide something, of course, costumes, and we'll probably get into this later. Costumes do have alternate options, so high-waisted panties, um, different bra tops that have more wire, underwire for your breasts. But at the end of the day, it's still a little tiny piece of fabric, and I want to say that we've gotten a bit better. I know I just said that the costumes have gotten smaller, but I will say that certain bands have gotten better at having these options, and different body wear. And if you hear me say body wear, it's the leotard part. So the backpack of the feathers, then you have leg and arm pieces, and I'm talking mainly about the body wear part. But I'm gonna get into the gushing part. I know I'm saying it's dental floss. I know I'm saying skin out. It's so liberating, and I don't know how to express this more with the sound of my voice. And I know it's contradictory to wonder about body composition if you are maybe self-conscious or something, and me telling you, oh, these costumes are dental floss, but it's a great time. And why I'm saying that is, and that juxtaposition is, once you step off that plane, I promise you, and I'm not just speaking from me, Alexis, the Caribbean girl who has so much fun at Trinidad, there is something about the air. There's something about the type of people that go to Carnival where I promise you nobody is and nobody should be saying disparaging remarks. Nobody should be looking at you crazy. And of course, I can't tell you not to feel self-conscious, but I will say that you will notice after a little bit of time, once you're in that road, whether you're at a fete or you're at Monday wear or you're at Pretty Mass on Tuesday, you're going to be like, oh, wow, so many different bodies around me, so many different ages around me, abilities, different abilities in terms of, I'll say ADA in terms of that, but men, women, different gender orientation, sexuality, orientation. And I personally, and I don't walk around this earth with rose-colored glasses, so I'm not the person that's always like, oh, look on the bright side. But I promise you, go. Just go and experience it once. You don't have to get a costume. You can go and participate in fetes. You can go and be an observer. And maybe your first time you just observe and you go to the parties. The parties are so much fun. So maybe you just go to parties and you watch the carnival your first year. And then I promise you, you'll realize nothing about me is unique. Okay, all of y'all are unique. Word to be honest. But I knew you were gonna do that. But what I mean is nothing about your body, and I don't know who's listening. I don't care if you are 2 pounds or
you better drop that gem. You better.
Nothing about your body is going to stand out in the way that you think it is. I promise you. And everybody is there to literally vibe. Everybody is under the sun. We are drinking alcohol. Let's start there. So we're already feeling
morning,
great.
noon, and night.
Under the sun, everybody feels beautiful because you're, especially if you identify as a woman, you're probably made up with makeup and you got your little tights on. Tights, by the way, for my plus size gals out there who are like, oh, my legs, this and that. Tights cover your cellulite. Don't even trip, sis.
And
like
there's the end of that.
It's like airbrush, and and they're not uncomfortable, and you won't chafe. A lot of people wear fishnet tights. I like to wear standard tights. Either one, I promise you, gives you that little bit of more confidence that you're looking for. But I'm gonna go on a tangent, so let me rein it
That's
in.
The mic. Tag me in.
Let me rein it in. Body positivity in Carnival. I know a lot of people don't think to talk about it. You might go on social media and you might go to band social media and see a certain type of body and think that that is the only type of body represented. Unfortunately, it's taking a while for social media and media in general accounts to really reflect what you see. But I promise you, go look at videos. Go click on Trinidad Carnival hashtag on Instagram. We are out there, tall,
everyone's
short,
there.
fat, skinny, fat, slim. I don't know if skinny people like skinny. I was once told that they did not, so I'm gonna respect that. Slim, bigger, rounder, whatever you are, baby. Not only will you feel better, But let me tell you something too. Somebody out there,
May have
somebody
a
out
social
there.
media account and they'll tag you. Is that what you're about to say? Oh, no, that's not where we're going. Oh, my bad.
That is not where we are going. And please don't bring up my past. I'll tell y'all about that in a second though. Somebody out there, and not that you should live for the gaze of others, especially the male gaze, but baby,
Someone's watching in a
somebody's
good
watching,
way.
and somebody wants it, and somebody's gonna hop behind it. So
Wang out.
pelt that waist and keep it moving. And keep it moving. Joe's trying to bring up something very special that happened to me in Trinidad. Like I said, you're full of drink and you're full of good cheer. That was me. This year, for the first time, it might surprise you, I wore a thong costume. The funny thing is, it's not really that special because when I wear briefs, my butt is so big it ends up making it a thong. But this was an intentional thong.
It was intentional.
This was an intentional thong. And I really thought that I was a high waist thong too. Shout out to Lost Tribe. Will go on a fangirl about that.
We will.
But I had a high waisted thong and my tights, like I told y'all. And y'all, this bumper was bumper-ing. It was out. And so many people, like Joe said, it's been 2 years. So one thing I did notice about this new carnival in the absence of others was there were so many media channels, Instagram accounts, and people with
pictures
cameras,
and like professional
cameras. Yes,
the ones with like the angles changes and they have like the I was like,
yes. So I was actually sitting next to Joe, I think, when this happened, and there was a man on the ground, pretty much literally on the ground, just standing minding my big butt business, and he was on the ground taking a photo from the ground up. Now, Trinidad is a wild place. In the States, I might have some hands. I might have to speak to you.
It's a different vibe.
Come outside. I'm not going to jump you. But I turned around, and just when I turned around, I guess he took another picture because I was turned around to look down at him because one of my friends was like, oh, somebody is taking a picture. I was about to cuss him out, and he quickly stood up and showed me the photo, and ooh, it was a good
Please
photo.
continue. Right.
I was like, okay, I'm not
right time. And we were right about to go on stage too.
We were right about to go on stage. He told me, oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm with, first of all, y'all, I just told you about all these professional cameras. He had a cell phone. He had an iPhone. And he said, oh, no, I'm with Trinidad Carnival Diaries. And I was like, that sounds so fake. But I was like, whatever, it's a good pic. I don't know where that photo is going to end up. Fast forward a week or maybe less, and I'm getting all these tags. Is this you? Is this you? That photo is on Trinidad Carnival Diaries. Y'all can go find it, my big bet. And it's like thousands of likes. And I'm not embarrassed whatsoever. Now, am I going to show my mama? Absolutely not. But I don't feel no way. I don't feel uncomfortable. There's a saying that Carnival is woman, and I need you, who is listening to the sound of my voice, whoever you are, to know that that is the truth. The men, y'all get on bad and y'all look good, but it's not about y'all.
We'll take supporting role.
It is about us, and we look good as a unit, as a beautiful sea of queens. But I look at that photo and it just symbolizes everything. I would have never thought, going back to 2010-ish Alexis, I would have never thought, hey girl, you're going to be bigger than you are now, maybe a lot bigger than you are right now. And you are still going to own your stage, and you're still going to wear what you want to wear, and people are going to snap pictures, and not in jest, they're going to snap pictures because they're going to be like, you look good, your body
good. Good.
And I wish that I could like talk to that Alexis, like keep that head up, because absolutely nothing is wrong with you. And
yes,
definitely not at Carnival.
You better talk to your younger Carnival self. That's about to be a new talk to the younger Carnival queen. Speaking, so I'm like, where do I want to go next? I think what I want to go next, because I think we get into like this vibe and this feeling, but I think a piece of it is because of the camp that we were with. So I would love to, this is where we get to show out. Hopefully they get to sponsor us, because we're going to be talking about y'all for the next 5 minutes.
Yes.
We're going to talk about Lost Tribe.
Lost Tribe. I am not sponsored by Lost Tribe.
This episode is not sponsored by Lost Tribe yet.
Episode is not sponsored by Lost Tribe.
Yet.
I absolutely love that band. And if you don't understand Carnival, the bands are the specific groups that you play with. So there's Tribe proper, there's Yuma, there is Bliss, there is, I can't remember any of these other names, Rogue. And those, I'm saying mainly big bands, but there are also mid-sized and small bands. So no disrespect to them, because they also
show out too.
So good. They show out. It's just skipping my brain right now. But our band was Lost Tribe, and Lost Tribe is my favorite, and why I keep going back with them is because I love feathers, I love glitter, I love what you think of when you see Carnival, but, and maybe it's the musical theater major in me, I love drama, and Lost Tribe brings a story, an entire storyline, because every band technically has like a reasoning for why our costumes look like this. But Lost Tribe pulls into people's history, their family, African proverbs. My favorite year was Lost Tribe Taj, and it pulled into the story of course, there's like an Indian massive in Trinidad, and the designers within Lost Tribe have an Indian heritage, and it really played into that culture. And so all of the, without appropriation somehow, and so all of the costumes are just gold and beads, and they kind of look like saris, and they have the flowers hanging down and the golden crowns, and it's just so much beauty. And this year we were 2020 which was symbolic of how far we've come since post-COVID. It's been 2 years, like we mentioned, 2+ years, like we mentioned. And so some of our sections are your costumes within your band. So I was in light with Joe, but 2020 we consisted of light, power, dawn, free, the washing, and all of those elements were supposed to symbolize how we have overcome this horrific global pandemic, and the mental toll that it has taken on us as a people as well, everybody. And so the story behind it is just beautiful to me every year. 2020, it was and I can never say the name, Anasazi.
Got it.
Let me look it up, because we don't have the
just in case we got to edit that.
There we go.
Like the spider? Got it.
In 2020, the theme was Anansi, the spider. If y'all know, it's a tale from the Ashanti.
I love it.
And right. And so my good friend Malika, shout out to Malika. I believe she was the chameleon, and I was a giraffe. It was beautiful. I will have to send you a picture. But that's my point. And again, every band has their own story, but the only one that I can remember is, I think it was Rogue, and they were robots. Like,
that's
robots, and that's no shade whatsoever. Those costumes were amazing, but I always want to do something different, and it's dramatic, and it's
intentional. It's just
intentional.
I love intentionality.
And so that is one plus, the literally what I see and what I like about their costumes. But two, and I think this is also an intentionality, well, I know it is an intentionality, they are incredibly inclusive. Now, I will put a disclaimer. I have not shopped in other bands in quite some time. So I don't know if it's changed, but I know that I can log into Lost Tribe and get a costume from extra small to a 2 to 3X. And I know that the bra sizes, because I am a busty gal, the bra sizes go from an A to a G, and triple D, F, G. And a lot of their costumes, the bras, if you are higher on the range, they automatically become like underwire supportive. So that's the issue that I have when bands claim to be intentional, because yes, I think everybody should wear anything. However, the mechanics and the logistics of me trying to hoist these triple D girls into what you're wearing as an A cup, and you just made it a little bit bigger for me, is not going to be the same as oh, I know that you probably will need some more support because like your breasts are heavier. And so we're going to have this type of neck and this type of underwire. And do you want a high-waisted panty? Do you want a low-waisted? Do you want a monokini instead? I just like the options. They even have inclusivity down to the color of mesh. For a long time, mesh was quote unquote nude. Black girls listening, black and brown girls, you know what it's like to pull on some nude pantyhose, and the nude is not black people nude.
Nude enough. It ain't nude.
So the mesh on their costumes, let's say when it's supposed to look like illusion, like you're not wearing anything, I can get it as dark as your beautiful chocolate Joe to as light as like fair skin lightness. And so I think that's great as well. And the communication. Lost Tribe is big, but it's not as big as these other bands. And I told y'all that I wore a thong. I had a high-waisted thong. It wasn't too tight, but I knew when I put it on that about an hour in, it was going to get on my nerves. Shout out to Sherry, my designer, the light designer, the designer of the section light. I DM'd her. I had been in communication with her since they launched it, and I knew I loved that section. But I was like, sis, I need like an inch out on both sides. She told me to come down to the shop. It was 2 days before. It might have been Sunday.
That's
yeah.
lit.
And she had the fabric because she made my costume. Well, she had a hand in making my costume. She designed it. She had the fabric from it, and she took it out on both sides with fabric that exactly matched my panty. And big ups to her. I saw her on the road. Yeah, I saw her on social. She's the sweetest. She was in her costume, looked beautiful. And I definitely have bias because I've worked with them now I played with them now for a while, but I don't see anything else on the road that looks like them. And just the design and they're artists, and I just love putting it on, and I feel like art when I put their costumes on.
That's a good way of saying it, feeling like art. And it also feels like family, like you're amongst people.
Absolutely.
Like people just taking pictures of each other, saying, oh, the amount of people that came up to like say, oh girl, you look good, you do too. And they was like, let's take a picture. Or they would compliment something about you, and then you compliment. I was like, this is I love this.
It's love, and it's the same for men too. And I would love to hear your opinion on it, but I see different male body types as well, which I think is refreshing.
Yes. So this is or I explain. So I love hearing Alexis's point of view because she's been through a few of them, and she has an experience. But for me, this is like my first one. So it was a very unique experience. And I think being in Lost Tribe, again, shout out to them. It was just an amazing experience from beginning to end. And it even helped me overcome some of my doubts and shame, just being a part of like in a family vibe tradition with folks that I don't even know. Especially since in some of the cases I wasn't with Alexis, I was like kind of solo, or at least I found her eventually because that's how this works. But
absolutely,
as a proclaimed introvert, I did not feel, in the beginning it was like a little bit, but after a little bit of libations and just winding up myself, I just felt like at home with friends and family. But it took time to get there. So to kind of go from the beginning, I was trying to go through different bands. I kind of started the process a little late. Alexa's like, you started the process a little late. So she's like, here are the options. And I looked at all of them. And for all the sections that I saw, the men's costumes were lacking options. I'll say it like that. Or it was just shorts. And I was like, I don't want to pay $700 just for shorts. At least, and if they're going to be $700 shorts, at least make them intentional. I'm an intentional kind of girl. So I did that, and then I ended up going to Lost Tribe, and I just love the costumes, the colors, the vibe, even the way they displayed it. And they showed different body types as well. So then I had to decide which one I wanted to do. And I was like, okay, Alexis in light, so that's cool. That's like one factor of why I would do that one. But also I was looking at all the other costumes. And for me, I was like, how much of my body do I have to show? And that was kind of one of my major decisions. And I was very comfortable with the amount of body I had to show for light. So I did explain this before, probably in a previous episode, but I have never like showed my body in full in public ever. Or at least like if I'm on a beach, 20 seconds, 20 minutes, right? Especially with having gynecomastia, so that's a male breast for those who don't know. And I keep it very limited. I've been very comfortable going to the gym recently and going to the locker room, but that's like 5 people that I know in the gym. So it was a very big experience coming here and doing it amongst thousands of people. But that's the Tuesday. And I think first we got to get to the Monday and just being amongst everyone. I think that was the first part, right? The Monday is like that nice little warm up. That's literally what it is. It's like a dry
Yeah.
run rehearsal for Tuesday. And you're just amongst everyone in the same color, same vibe. Everyone's dancing, all the costumes, all the intentionality, all the drinks. And I was very comfortable. And then I remember getting ready for Tuesday, putting my outfit on the bed, and I was like, "Am I really gonna wear this outside?" And I was like going through all the like, and you know, and I actually had a therapy session this week about it, and like the doubts of shame around my body, which you know comes from society and comes from like years of like, is this norm of what a man should look like, or you know, of the norm for a guy, especially if you're looking like. Shout outs. I know we've been talking about Jonathan Majors for a while, but when you look at guys like John, uh, okay. So when you look at things like that, you're just like, that's quote unquote the ideal.
Yeah.
And how do I compare against that? But then I was looking at the outfit on the bed, and I was like, I'm gonna do this shit. I'm just gonna do it. And I had my roommate, who's also my coworker, dope guy, kind of helped me through some of that. And then I put it on. I had a drink and I left the hotel room. And once I got on the road with a sea of people and seeing people, I ran into Alexis again by accident because we didn't really
No, the universe is always going to bring me back to my baby.
And I just felt like I was amongst of people that is just joyous and freedom, liberation, the words that Alexis has been saying. And then it kind of made me tap into my own joy. And I feel like for me, I'm always able to do it pretty easily.
Mhm.
But that's like when I'm in my comfort zone. And when I'm not, it takes a little bit harder. And I think a lot of people can resonate with that. It's a little bit easier to find that joy sometimes when things are working out, when things are all going your way. But it's like when you're having that adulting moment, when you're having that fear and anxiety, that's when the joy is not as easy to tap into. But once I was out there on the road with everyone, I was just like, why am I worried about this? I'm with people that love me. I live with people that are enjoying themselves. And like you said, folks, I do know folks are judging because, you know, as humans, that's what we do.
Yeah.
We like to categorize. We like to,
Yeah.
especially if it doesn't make sense in your head, in society standards, it might take a little longer to process. But I think once I got over that, I was like, let's do this. Let's whine. What song is this? Besides, let's just say Heartfelt was the song that won, and I'm very excited because the other
Oh,
song, some of the other songs
my
I could have
goodness.
done without. But I was just like, I was on that stage dancing up and down as if, you know, I was like you saying, like that quote unquote ideal weight, because I'm
Yeah.
whatever I am right now.
Yeah.
And it was such an amazing feeling. And I think, first of all, I'm a type of guy that when I travel, I usually do things I wouldn't do when I'm home. I'm a
Yeah.
little bit more adventurous. That's like my alter ego. But what I've noticed over the years is the more I do it, like I leave and do something adventurous, like skydive, whatever, I'm able to like bring some of that back. So I always come back with a little bit more. I'm ready to take on the world. A little bit more of like this is like a memory or reflection of like, you remember you did that.
Yeah.
So why
Yeah.
can't you do it here, or whatever that means translated, whether that's work, professional, business, relationships, love. So it was just an amazing experience. And I'm glad I'm able to, now that I'm recovered because I was sick, I'm like back on it. I'm like, what's next? Where are we going next? Can't do Carnival Trinidad again next year because I will be paying off debt.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to do a back to back to back.
But Jamaica, Alexis, let's chat.
It's definitely reasonable. I don't know if this is true, but I heard that Bacchanal, Jamaica's carnival, started in 2000 because it was a hurricane and people couldn't go to Trinidad. So that's how it started.
Not
I
with
don't
the.
know if
Ooh,
that's
I was about
true,
to
but
make it
I've seen it in multiple like articles. But to your point, and I actually haven't sat with that, and you said it so eloquently. I look at these photos that like I love from Carnival, and I'm like, why are you tripping about how your blazer fits right now? Like you were just naked and free in the street. Like, you are fine where you are. And actually, you're not fine because you're trying to fit into a blazer that doesn't fit. So buy your size.
By your size.
um,
and like Alexa said, if it doesn't fit, because she did something I didn't do, my shorts were a little too short because I think I got a little too tight. Because I thought it was like American sizing. Or maybe I did gain on some pounds from eating the roti those first couple of days.
baby,
Just
have you seen your thighs? I don't know why you're talking about
you're
them
right.
things is ooh.
But as but caveat to anyone that thinks they're gonna, work out until they're blue in the face so they can fit in their outfit.
Yeah,
Please note that the outfits are on the Tuesday. You're going to get there probably the Tuesday before or the Wednesday
yeah,
before. There's a lot of food and drinks that you might not fit that costume. So just
yeah.
remember, size it appropriately
And
and don't worry about the
it's so
extra.
much easier to like cinch in a
Yes. Yeah.
like, oh my goodness, maybe you lost so much weight. Amazing, so proud of you.
Cool.
It's so much easier to cinch something in. People you
Then
are
foam
with, I promise
fabric.
you, if you're in a hotel, open up the door, somebody has a sewing kit, somebody
Yep.
has something, then to try to make something tight fit. And I don't know about y'all, but the reason why I got that adjustment is because it's written all over my face in photos and
When
in
it's
person when
you're
something
not
does not feel
comfortable.
comfortable for
Yeah.
me. And it makes me more self-conscious. You would think
Mm-hmm.
that I would feel self-conscious in general, but it's when things are a little snug. But to your point, Joe, you said Monday was like a dress rehearsal. I feel like emotionally it's a dress rehearsal as well.
Mm.
For people not for people who have not been to Carnival, you get a theme for Monday. So sometimes it's deep, most of the time it's
Color or yeah.
this year it was neon orange. In 2020 it was white. I cannot remember before 2020, but you are in charge of what you wear. You
Mm-hmm.
can either get it made, you can have something that you already own. I had a bathing suit that was like a corset bathing suit that was neon orange, and then I made
It
wings. I
was
made something.
popping, y'all. I wish I had known the intentionality because I only use a bucket hat. So she did what
I
she had to
made a
do.
backpack, and then I had some
Oh, she.
some bedroom kinky thigh halters that were
Oh,
also
that's right.
neon orange. But my point is, because you make it, you know what your size is. You know what
Mm-hmm.
looks good on
Yeah.
you. So Monday is, I actually love, and of course I love the costumes, but I love Monday because you see people's creativity and everybody fits exactly how they want to fit in their
Yep.
thing because it's their thing. And so that is definitely great to call it a dress rehearsal because it's like you've already been on the road for hours in the
You know
heat,
how it feels, right?
looking cute. And now you're gonna do it the next day and you're gonna cross the stage, and the stage is a literal stage. I don't know, I learned that a lot of people didn't know this, but you are getting judged
Mm-hmm.
in your costume every band, and you cross the stage and the judges are flanking the stage. That's where a lot of the photographers are as well, and they play the road march, whatever it is. That year ours was Come Home
Come
and
home.
both of them were neck and
Wait,
neck.
what was the second one?
I said Come Home and Hard Fat. It was like neck
They did
and
not play hard and fat for us.
at the end they did.
Oh,
And
I didn't
then
hear that. They
and
played
then
seven times of Come Home.
other sections behind me were like, oh yeah, they only played Hard Fat on ours. I was very jealous. But
Jealous.
that song, y'all, whatever song it is, you better like it because it's going to be played at least 3 times. They're going to play
Mm-hmm.
it one time through, they're going to run it back, and then you're
Mm-hmm.
going to probably walk off the stage the third time. But you are supposed to get on bad. You're
Get your
jumping.
life.
You are supposed to be showcasing your energy and of course your costumes, but like
Leave it
we
all on the floor. We won.
I don't know if I need to tell y'all that, but we won
Oh, ow.
the band of the year. But it
Come
was
home
so great.
remix.
So great. And I just I just want people to feel the joy that I feel and not feel like, oh, that's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody's on Instagram, there is an account called Everybody Play a Mas. So everybody play AHMAS. And it just is an account that shows you literally so many different types of bodies that are in costumes in different fetes, in different carnivals. And it's that whole thing. If you don't have representation, you think that something is not for you. And so if you're only seeing certain body types, in Carnival, and for a while Frontline, for example, the people who are
Mm.
wearing the biggest backpacks, the feather backpacks from head to toe, it was only a certain body type for
Mm-hmm.
a long while, and certain people that got photographed in their front line. And now that's changing, and you can have a fupa and be in costume. I promise you, babe. You can have triple D's and up and be in a costume, babe, and your breasts can be lifted. I promise you that. And if you need to, you can customize your costume. A lot of people do that as well. If you find that the top fits, I already know that I'm bigger than a 2X. Baby, if the costume's gold, go get you a gold bikini metallic bottom. Take the bottom that you bought, cut off the gems, put it on the one that fits you. Go out there comfortable. Don't go out there uncomfortable, and don't not go because you think that it's not for you. It is. It's for everybody.
For everybody.
So shout out to Everybody Play Us. Not sponsored by them as well. I just that account. Beautiful women on there of all body types and shapes and all different kinds of costumes, because we also don't need to all be covered. There's 2 pieces on this site. There is monokinis with a deep V. There is just so many things that you can do, because I'm not going to speak for all big girls. A lot of big girls are like, I want my fupa to be hanging over this suit. Like, I don't want it covered. I want my body out, and you can do that as well.
You deserve whatever works for you.
You deserve however you want to step out, sis.
Expression.
And bruh.
All of that. The guys had some very. So I think the good last part before we wrap this up, because we could do this for hours, and we might, because there might be another segment. Hours and hours. Is that Money Long?
Yes.
So one thing I was shocked to see was how do I say, the girls were out.
The girls
with the W,
out, baby. With
the LGBTQIA community was out
loud and proud.
And I was, as someone that's Jamaican, you go to the islands or you go to like certain parts of Africa, and you're like, okay, it's going to be, you kind of know, it's kind of like code switching, to be honest. You just know you have to kind of tone things down or be able to explain, like, whatever that looks like. But this was, when I talk about liberation and freedom and joy, the queer experience, I was able to see that explicitly. And, of course, and I think you said this last time, you don't know by judging, right? You don't know by looking if someone is or isn't a part of the LGBTQ community. But I'll just say they were out there. There was I know we're talking about one person. And there's one person I have in my mind, and I know Alexis has the same person in her. Yes. This boat man with locks. He was wind up on the back of the truck for a good couple miles. Like it was, and the poor lady that was working was like, "What is that?" She just
wanted people not to get run over by this truck, and he was having a time of his life. And to Joe's point, unfortunately, many African countries and many of our islands, it's not the place of come as you are.
Yeah,
come as you are. And so to see, I think that leans into what I said about like body composition. Nobody's coming to get you on this road. Not while I'm on this road. That's what I'm saying. And so it's literally a safe space between those boundaries. When you're going down the road and you're at the Fete, nobody's gonna touch you. Nobody. Listen, they can look. They can do. People are gonna.
What are they? Right.
But they're not going to, not on our watch. And I've seen it in action. So I'm trying to speak from a place that I know. I've seen sometimes a little melee happening and the rest of the masqueraders being like, out, like, get it out, not here. And so, and not even on LGBTQ, just anything not in the vibe that is the appropriate vibe, whether it be violence or whether it be you're too drunk and you're being there's a lot of conversation about our people love to bend over, but do not get it twisted with this is just an arena for a free-for-all of like sexual misconduct. That is not it. And it's
no means no.
If you're looking from the outside in, it looks like there's no type of structure, but the way people hopped on this butt and I threw it back and then we parted ways, there's no, oh, I bought you a drink, so you mind. There's no, I'm gonna slip my hand here. I have never at any carnival, any Fete, been like, you took it too far. And I'm very happy to be able to say that. I know maybe my experience might be unique to me, but I just wanted to also counteract that, because if you are looking from the outside in, you might be like, I want to go, but I don't want to be touched. And
And
that's
you
another
will.
thing. By the time we get to Tuesday and I'm cute, there's always a point where I'm like, I don't want to be touched. And guess what?
There.
I don't get
No one
touched.
touches you. Right.
If you don't look like you are bending over, if you don't look like you are ready to like pelt waist, you are left alone.
There's
And
a code.
like,
Yeah. Unwritten. I don't know. Unwritten. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows when people are like off guard. Everyone knows. Or even if you do attempt it and they do like, just to stop.
yeah,
Move on.
there's no pressure and you just move on. And so I know we're supposed to be talking about different size bodies, but I'm sending this message out to people who are in all of the marginalized classes. If you, unfortunately, and I hate to put it that way, but I saw a good sis in a wheelchair. I saw a good bra on the canes that help you, that assist you with walking, where you put your arms through and you hold. And guess what? Getting on bad, having
Get
a good
it
time.
on.
Nobody like, what are you doing here? Just like, of course you're here. Pregnant women, people with prosthetics. When I tell you see everybody and everything, and I just want to share this message that like, if you've been thinking about it and you've been going back and forth and, oh, it's not for me, and oh, I gotta lose 50 pounds first, and my knee is bad. Baby, people be bedazzling knee braces. Listen to the sound of my voice. Our costume was Monday wear was neon orange. Do you know how many neon orange knee straps and elbow tapes? And do you know how many braces I saw? Come on.
It's a collective, creative collective, folks. And I think that's a perfect note to end on. But just for the people that are, solo travelers and they're scared to get into this, there are travel groups and people they do packages, and you're with people, so you feel like you're a part of something a little bit smaller. If it's too much, right? It is. Yeah. If you're just by yourself, it might be too much. Except the folks that profession. I think they're called career. Like you said, mixie.
And those groups, they usually are, you have a lot of fun, but they're limited. So you might have 3 fets that are part of that package, which to me is the perfect. And it's like the 3 fets that everybody wants to go to. They pick up your costumes, they pick you up from the airport. You don't have to plan this all by yourself. And if you have the money,
it's hard. It's a lot.
Do that, invest that way. I would shout out a couple companies, but they're not
sponsored. We're not getting sponsored yet. Next episode, holla at us if you want. Oh man, this is so much fun. I think that was a good spot to end. Unless you have any more other gems that you want to drop before we depart.
If you want to follow me and see all this juicy goodness, I'm on Instagram at Miss Alexis K, MISS Alexis K. I am sponsoring this, so I can say my own account.
I know that's right.
But seriously, if you go to that account and you have any questions, just go in my DM. I will answer anything. I am, for reference, 42, 39, 58. So you mentions. So just so because you ever hear something.
You need context.
Like, ooh, plus size, and then you go on their account and you're like, I guess. We are bigums over here, mama. So come get in my DMs if you have any questions about anything, not just costumes. And be great. Have fun out there.
Yes.
Life is too short. Life is too short for you to try to lose another 20 pounds to go to Carnival. Let's end on that. We all made it through a pandemic. You saw how fragile life was. Let's not continue into 2023. Shoulda, woulda, couldas.
No, we are not going to prevent. Oh no, we are not turning down experiences because you are not in the form that you want to be, whether that's mental, physical. There is so many experiences out there that is allowing us to be joy and liberated. We deserve joy and liberation. I'm about to start preaching. We deserve joy and liberation now.
We do.
Especially after not even the pandemic, for our ancestors. We are literally walking on the same road. Well, I'm not literally, but honestly, it does feel like something ancestral. I don't know how to explain it. It also happens to me when I'm in Africa. It just feels like you're walking with them.
And it represents the freedom of slavery. So we need to keep celebrating that because we ain't free.
So if you see us in Jamaica, holla at us. Hey. If you have any questions, holla at us. But like we like to say, thank you for picking you today, and we'll see y'all on the other side. Peace. Bye, y'all.